Hello and welcome to another episode or video of how to study. Um, this one is going to be about do I know this or don't I? Uh, we've made 3 videos, I believe, so far on how to study. The links to the other videos will be posted in this here, as links in the posting here. So if you haven't watched them, go back and watch them and see if they'll give you, see if they'll help you out any. All right. So this one here today. Is about do I know this or don't I? Um, and when you're looking at when you're studying, all right, remember, let's talk about the mind first. Your mind, it likes the familiar. Okay, what does that mean? Well, let's say, for example, you're going to drive. When you drive to a destination that you've gone to before many, many times, like to the grocery store or whatever have you, you're very, very comfortable going to that grocery store, right? You go the same way, your mind is used to it, right? But now let's say, for example, you have to take a trip, all right? Well, when you take the trip that you've never taken before, all the way that you're taking that trip, your mind is a little bit agitated, all right? Because it doesn't know what it needs to be doing, okay? Yeah, you have directions, but you've never seen where that intersection is. You've never seen where that light is. You've never seen where that, off ramp is. And so your mind is always searching and it's like in this hyperactive state. Whereas if you go to the grocery store, I mean, you almost go on autopilot. You're on the cell phone talking to your friends, while you're driving because you know how to get there. Okay. That's how the mind works. Okay. So when you're studying, you should kind of always ask yourself the question, do I know this or don't I? Okay. Um, if you do know it, you skip it. All right. If you don't, then you take a note. Too many students will, when they're reading, they make notes on the stuff that they already know. Okay, and they're wasting a huge amount of time. And the reason why they do that is because their mind wants the familiar. Their mind wants to be comfortable. And so when they're reading about, Christopher Columbus sailed the blue in, 1492, you already know that. Why write it on the paper? But they write it on the paper because it's comfortable. If I had said, if you're reading the sentence, and now I don't know what day Christopher Columbus sailed for America, but let's just pick a day, say August 6th in 1491. Okay. Um, Now all of a sudden, your mind doesn't know that and it becomes agitated, just the same as if you were driving to a different destination, right? It becomes agitated, it becomes a little bit hyperactive. And because of that, we have a tendency to, yeah, I mean, sure, you might take that note, on that date in 1491. But what I'm getting at here is that, that's the stuff you should, be studying. You shouldn't be studying the stuff or making notes about the stuff that you actually do know, the 1492. You're just wasting your time repeating what you already know. What you need to repeat is the date 1491. Okay, so that's what I mean by do I know this or don't I? Okay. If you do know it, skip it. Don't make a note. If you don't, then definitely take a note. Okay. Now, another thing I want to talk about in your mind is that it's like Velcro. Okay. Let's say, here's a wall and there's Velcro on this. Okay. Well, that's your mind. All right. And here's a little bucket, all right, and in the bucket there's all these Velcro balls, okay, all right, and you know, you're standing there, and remember, this is your mind, and the the whole idea is that when you have a bit of information, so you pick up the ball and you throw the ball, and when it hits the Velcro, it sticks, okay, well, that's like your mind. When you take in information, it sticks in your mind. Now, as you throw the balls, they're going to stick to the Velcro, but some of them are going to fall off. Okay, that's just like studying. You have this new bit of information, about Christopher Columbus in 1491, leaving August 6th or whatever the date is in 1491. You just threw that ball, that bit of information up against your mind, the Velcro of your mind, but it might not stick and it'll fall down to the ground. So what do you have to do? You have to pick that ball up and throw it again, okay? And if it falls off again, you throw it again, okay? Until it does stick. I mean, that's your mind, that's like Velcro, the information has to stick. And that's, from one of the previous videos, we had talked about repetition being the mother of learning. Okay, well, that repetition is throwing that ball again and again and again. It's presenting your mind that bit of information. Okay, now your mind also likes to associate things. Okay, if it has something that it can reference from, it makes it a lot easier to remember. Okay, if it doesn't have something to reference from, like it's something completely new, it struggles a little bit because it doesn't, have anything to associate with it, all right? And it has to start a new connection in your mind. So I've written here what seems to be relatively simple, but let's say we have a fraction, and this is just to um, uh, give you an idea of what I'm talking about here about association. Okay, so we have the fraction 7 over 10. Okay, 7 is how many outcomes, okay? So, and 10 is the total possible outcomes, okay? Now, I often talk to my math students and I tell them what you want to do is a lot of times just imagine a pizza and you're going to cut that pizza up into, however many terrible looking pizza. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I need 10. All right, so let's make this 8 instead of 10. Doesn't matter, okay? Um, we have, if we have 7 possible outcomes, that means we're gonna, let's say we eat this one, this one. We're talking about how many pizzas, how many slices of pizzas we ate, okay? So we ate 7. If we're talking about how many outcomes, how many slices of pizza did we eat? We ate 7 of them. And the total number that was in the pie was 8. Okay, so that gives us our fraction 7/8. Right? Now, I realize that this should be an 8 because I can't draw, and this should be an 8 because I can't draw. Okay, now your mind already knows this. I mean, you've had fractions before. You know that 7/8, 7 is the possible outcomes. How many did I eat? Okay, um, or an 8 is out of the total. All right. Now, I see this happen an awful lot, especially when it comes to the concepts of markup and markdown, and how to price products and things like this. A lot of students understand the 7/8 because they've had it before, um, but they don't understand the reciprocal. So the reciprocal being, well, if I have 7 that I ate, then that means there's 1 that I didn't eat. There's 1 slice of pie. That's the reciprocal. Okay. Now notice what just happened, whether you know this or not. That when I said that 1 is what's left, your mind now immediately associated it to the 7 that you ate out of the total possible 8. Okay. This is not to teach you math, and this is not to be, going into any of those kinds of concepts. What I wanted you to get across here was association. Okay. Your mind associates with other information that it has. Okay, so if you didn't know about this term reciprocal, or you haven't thought about that concept before, now as I begin to explain it, that, well, I ate 7 of those pieces of pie, the reciprocal is 1, the one that I didn't eat. Your mind more easily relates it to this 7. Okay, let me go back and let me, take a fresh screen here, and let's say, in order to try to think about this term of reciprocal, if I went and I said, okay, here I have this here box, and I'm going to cut this box up into the 4 quadrants, and one of the quadrants is left, okay, and that's the reciprocal, your mind struggles with that, okay? Because why? It hasn't somewhat associated what these other ones are. How come these are gone, right? But if I can say, oh, I cut this box up into 4 sections and I used 3 of them, okay? I used 3 out of 4. Well, what's the reciprocal? Oh, the one that I didn't use. See how it just became uh, you understood that idea a little bit more. So when you're studying, you know, you're always asking yourself, do I know this or don't I? Okay. And when you don't know something, that's what you want to take notes on. But you also want to try to relate it to something that you already know. Okay. In any of the concepts. If I didn't know about this reciprocal in math, I'd be trying to relate it to a normal fraction and what that fraction means. That's what I'm taking a note on. Okay. I'm not going to just try to write the word reciprocal and give a definition. Right. I'm going to try to relate that concept. So I hope that helps. Again, there's other videos in the series. I'm just going to keep on putting them out until I exhaust the subject or finish, saying what I have to say about it. So you'll see those links in the posting, and I hope you like this video. All right. Best of luck in your studies.